The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Saban Entertainment, and Subaraya Productions.
Woo! Episode... I don't know what episode this is. Welcome back to Tokucast,
Welcome back to Tokucast, everybody.
I am really bad at this. 36.
All this practice and you're still that bad.
Nope, yep. Episode 36. We're back with another Ultraman.
Ultraman Tiga.
Yes, our return after, we did Mebius.
Which was amazing.
But this is the return for the Ultra series as a whole, as of episode, as of the end of 80. So it's been about 15 episodes.
This is the first in the Heisei era.
Yes, 1996 with Ultraman.
Which I didn't know going in. I thought this came afterwards at first. And then I was like, wow, the effects really downgraded.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, this is the 90s. Never mind. You're okay.
Yeah, this... that gigantic hiatus that they had one longer than Kamen Rider, which was 10 years.
Yes.
Technically, because of the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, for first full-fledged series from 80 to now, which is 15 years. So we went back to 1996 to watch Ultraman Tiga, a show I didn't expect a lot of. Yeah, it's so weird. The other weird thing about this is that this show takes place between 2007 to 10. And that
I don't remember this.
Years ago.
Don't you love it when that happens?
It's so weird when a show ends up taking place in the future, but you're past that point.
My favorite is Transformers, the movie, the animated one. The year is 2005.
It's like, you're a liar.
It's like, wow.
You're a liar. We don't have flying skateboards.
Or the futuristic year of 2017.
I was here like, these are all That's the time frame that Dyna takes place on.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, none of this is true. But yeah, starting at the beginning of Tiga, that opening.
I hate it.
I like it.
I hate it so much.
I like Eurovision stuff. So this is very Eurovision, like Europop and everything.
Yeah.
It's so weird because when I was first listening to it, I'm sitting here like, Dana Tiga, take me higher. And then I'm listening to it and I'm just like, this sounds extremely familiar.
Gee, I wonder what it could be.
And I'm just like, da, 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 da. Every time we touch, I get the feel. I was like, oh my god! I was like, but it makes sense.
And that's when I realized I absolutely hated this song.
I like this song.
Oh god, I hate it so much. It's one of the absolute worst.
I thought it was fun, not JPG. But yeah.
Needless to say, killed my enthusiasm somewhat.
I still like the show. But yeah, starting off with this first episode, we end up meeting our team for this one, Guts.
We changed one letter from the last team, which was guys.
Yeah. Didn't even think about it. It's weird because in Dyna it's Super Guts.
Okay, Saban.
But yeah, it's Guts, and they're over Umbrella Corporation, TPC, Terrestrial Peaceable Consortium.
Didn't know this was Resident Evil.
Yeah. We end up meeting Daigo and the team, Daigo and Reina, when a dinosaur monster ended up popping out, like the first one in an extremely long time. From this, because Tiga takes place in a separate universe from the main N7-8 universe that the rest of the Showa and Mebius and Zero and Geet in this case take place in. It's just they end up getting a weird message from space. Is more or less a time capsule saying that these two monsters are coming back and we need someone to have it to find the Pyramid of Light.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's what I thought when I saw it, because it's literally a woman in white coming from a hologram and telling them there's bad stuff. Yeah.
So Daigo ends up hearing somebody calling out his name. They go and find the Pyramid of Light with two other statues beside him.
And you told me, I didn't know this when I saw it.
Well, it sort of looks like it, because I'm going to end up saying that it has to be Tiga. I mean,
Dyna, Ultraman Dyna, which is the next one after this.
Like, it looks a lot like Dyna. It could not be him, which is also a possibility, but it looks a lot like Dyna, especially with that forward-facing fin. Now, I'm guessing that they could end up being a little bit more extrapolated on in the movie that we didn't watch, because, Tiga is a Dark Ultra? He was previously a Dark Ultra.
Yes.
Yeah. Which would be very interesting if they explored that more in the show, but we'll talk about that in a second. Golza ends up reappearing, and Melba, the flying one. Daigo.
Cool looking monsters. Once again, Ultraman.
They do
really,
very good with
really
their
good looking monsters.
I will always end up saying this about Ultraman because their basis is, that large group.
Yeah.
Well, like the large size of the monsters and everything like that. They really know how to deal with their sets and how everything is really effective with their sets and everything.
Because it is Super Eye Productions. Super Eye worked on Godzilla, so
it makes a lot of sense.
It's their bread and butter. It's what they know.
Yeah, they do very, very well with their sets and their set destruction and construction and things like that. I love the way they end up, just making everything look a lot more realistic than what Sentai does.
As realistic as you can get.
But. Yeah, because it's like they end up framing it in a way, and they really did this in actually one of the episodes later on with Ultraman coming back. They do it really well where it's like everything is framed really well in Ultraman. And they actually, because if you haven't seen it, the first episode of Geet is out on Crunchyroll.
Yes.
I did watch it, and they do it really well in that too. Like, of course, because it's 2017, they mix the CGI and the reality, but they do it a lot more, so it's a lot more believable.
A lot more consistently.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it was great. The first episode is still really good. Well, I'm not gonna say really good because they go fast.
It's okay.
It's a first episode, and they go. Really fast.
One of the things if there's anything that I really don't like about anime and toku in general, it's that the first episode is introducing you to so many new characters at once.
And this, especially when it ends up coming to something like this, because they introduce the entire.
Yeah, they'll introduce everybody at once, and it's like, wait, who are you? Oh god.
Before we end up going any further, there's one episode. It's the episode with the crows, those crow monsters. Find that really quickly because I can't remember exactly which one it is. But we wanted to talking about it because I like that episode.
Okay.
But yeah, the first episode isn't bad. We end up getting to see Tiga. I like the way that Tiga looks.
This is the first time we've ever had two colors on the base form, a blue and a red. And it looks good.
And also one that ends up transforming into a different color. This is the first time they end up getting form changes in the show. So, Tiga's just... It's very, very important to the way that Ultraman sort of went on from here on out. And it's just sort of important to the way that Tokusatsu really does as overall. Because you can sort of see, a lot of the episodes in the show really end up focusing on the cast. Everybody ends up getting fleshed out, more or less. So we end up finding a lot about these characters. But yeah, Tiga looks really good. I like the way that his two forms look. We don't, of course, end up getting to see the blue one that often. Sad about that. I would like to see the blue form a lot more.
Yeah, it's the round form and the sky form, I believe are the names.
It's Power and something.
Power and...
We'll call the other one Flying for the moment until we see the actual name. But yeah, I like the way that everything is going, and I really like the way they introduce these characters and things like that. Let's move on a little bit because...
Episode 13 is the one with the crows.
13?
That's with Raybeak.
Yes. Oh yeah, let's talk about that one because this show doesn't have an overarching plot.
It does not, which is disappointing.
Yeah, which is a detriment to itself. I'm a much, much bigger fan, and I've said this before, having an overarching plot. However, what this show really does well is keeping everything contained into a single episode, or spanning a couple episodes. Like some monsters will appear in one episode, and they appear, episodes later or something like that. And I was like, that's a good way to sort of establish consistency. But at the same time, an overarching plot, especially with some of the elements that they end up bringing in later, are missing. And that sort of is a major detriment to the show as a whole. But yeah, we can skip around because of that.
Quick correction. Ultraman's forms. His base form, Multi. His red form, Power. And his blue form is Sky.
Okay. There we go. But yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah. Let's talk about, because we can really skip around in this show because there isn't a lot of consistency. Or rather...
Not a lot of consistency and not a lot of... Well, like you said, there's not really an overarching plot. There's not a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
It is very episodic in nature.
It does a lot better than Winspector.
God!
Remember that show?
No! Moving on! Before I'm forced to eat my computer in rage.
Yeah, episode 13. It's always, I always end up saying this, it's always a treat to see Ultraman fight as regular.
Is this the first time we've seen this? Because I don't remember seeing it at either Nexus or... I remember seeing him normal size at Nexus. I don't remember him ever fighting that way.
I don't think it really ever ended up happening in either Nexus
But
or Mebius World.
This fight in the warehouse with the Ray Beaks, I loved it.
I love it.
Seeing Ultraman as like a normal sized dude just punching aliens and like throwing them through walls and just being awesome was great.
I love it. It's because it doesn't happen that often, and they do a very good job, because I think it only happens one other time in this show. They space it out well enough so it doesn't feel like it's trying to be Kamen Rider, of course.
Yeah.
Or Sentai in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, it's such a treat when it does happen that this episode sticks out to me because of that. And just the way that the story is really set up. Tiga does very good when it ends up coming to darker episodes and horror episodes and things like that.
Oh, yes. That it certainly does.
Yeah. Just on a lighter episode, there is another episode later where there's this monster stuck in a mountain.
Yeah.
And like these thieves were going to go steal something, and one of them was getting possessed by the guy who beat the. Yeah, I love that. It's so funny.
Yes,
it's just fun. I love a good episode like this. It just made me laugh.
It's the other two shows, the other two Ultramans that we've reviewed. They're far superior, but this show does things very, very well.
Yeah, and I just love that. I just thought it was really funny. Like, the thieves interacting with each other and interacting with the possessed guy is just hilarious. Like, I remember there's this one part of the episode where it was just like, hey, the thieves would like, after they found out the guy got possessed, it's like, you were the one who was supposed to drive back this time. And the possessed guy looks at him, and the guy's just like, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I love it. Mm-hmm. That was a really, really good episode. Let's talk about some of the ones that really ended up standing out to us the most.
Okay.
Episode 31.
Can we start with episode 30?
Yes.
Because this episode stuck out to me a lot too. So, one of the things that I thought this show did fairly well was romance.
Yeah.
Which is not something we say a lot in the show. Go check out our last episode of the Rantocast, please.
Yes.
To see what he really had to say.
And I do realize I did miss a few. The one in Magic Ranger didn't like, the reason that it didn't make sense to me is because
we can do a part 2.
Yeah,
we can do a part 2 at some point. But Daigo and his Guts teammate Reina, there is a romance going on between them, and it goes on throughout the show. If there is anything overarching about the show, it's their relationship.
And the two movies the last movie that bridges the distance between Tiga and Dinah is when they get married.
They get married, and then they have 2 kids at some point.
On Mars.
Yes, and because later in Dinah, they show up, and Dinah meets Daigo.
Yeah.
On Mars, and he's got, kids with him, and it's like, kids.
The guy from Dinah, like the main guy who ends up transforming into Dinah, is at the end of the Tiga movie.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, go ahead, 30.
But 30, it's that, like I said, the romance element, this does well because they're on a date at a petting zoo of sorts farm, and a monster appears, but it's not the traditional, let's fight the monster and save the animals. This monster is crying. And it's hungry, and it's all sad. And I like this episode because it was different.
Yeah.
It's so different and so refreshing to see they're exercising in restraint. It's let's not just blow the monster up immediately. Let's wait and see what happens. He doesn't seem to be posing a threat. And you get the farmer guy. I thought he was kind of funny, going up to the giant monster with a pitchfork. You're going to do all the damage with that.
And they just sort of do that in, I think it's episode one of the 40s, where a space monster ends up coming in, and a train sound has the same horn as the sound of its mother. So they end up basically having to send that child back into space to go find its mother again, because it's you can't do this, and just start coming in and just destroying things. I love the fact that we do end up getting those episodes just hey, we don't have to kill the monster this time, and that really works for the story as a whole. Yes. I like that. But yeah, episode 30 was good. I really liked that. Episode 30 was
good. Episode 31.
Jesus Christ.
Oh boy. This episode 31, the attacked Guts base, is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen, and it was awesome.
I was like, can we not?
Can we? Yes, is my answer to that.
That episode
basically we find an ancient alien slime based life form
that produces a lot of oxygen.
It winds up capturing and possessing other members of Guts.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't really possess them.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where it creates a duplicate and traps the host somewhere else.
Yeah. It's
Kind of like that.
It was so, like, they made the episode
That's
so
not exactly
dark.
how Body Snatchers works, but you get my drift.
Yeah, it's like they made the episode so dark by basically turning off all the lights.
Yes.
It's
so
lights out.
Creepy. It's again, it's that smaller scale that we don't see a lot with Ultraman, and it kind of reminded me of Aliens. We're trapped in a base, and there's monsters in here, and we have to get out of here. The monsters will kill us. But we can't creepy. Because the lights are all. It's harder because the lights are all out.
The power's off,
and it can get through the vents.
Yeah,
it's able to go around and get around them stealthily. And seeing the actors play the alien versions of themselves, I thought was really cool. It was nice because the actors in the show are all pretty good, so it's nice to see them, do different things, and, like play like an evil version of their character. That was cool.
They had like this, like the very last thing in the episode when they end up looking into the phone that they're communicated at the gut space is abusing, and there's the evil Daigo in there. He's like, Reina, and she drops it, and I was thinking like, I wasn't ready for that. They can stop them, but I loved it. I love the tension that you really feel throughout this episode. It's so good. 31 is one of those real standouts, and I love it. Oh, so good. We get another episode like this in the 30s with episode 35.
The Sleeping Maiden.
Yeah, this one was creepy. It's just, I'm just sitting here like, okay, so Reina ends up getting possessed in this episode. It's just a whole bunch of, like, she gets possessed by an alien, like one of those aliens that you see, like the Area 51 type of thing. It's so creepy, but it was so good. I love the way that this show does with its much more horror and mature themed episodes because it does the tone so incredibly well, and that just makes it just amazing.
It does those episodes. One of the things, because if you remember, Nexus, also a very dark show, had some very strong horror elements. That was the entire show. This show was able to survive longer than that in the ratings and able to go past 35 episodes.
37,
well, past however many episodes Nexus was. It was able to get past that because it mixed in episodes like the zoo episode. And it's able to mix things in with the darker elements for the kids. And that's one of the things that made it last longer.
I hate filler episodes, but a breather episode is fun.
There's a difference.
X8 does this very well, by the way. It's like it gives you like a whole bunch of plot over a good span of episodes, and it's just like, hey, we're going to take a step back and focus on another character and just have like not a whole bunch of fights or something like that, and just give you like an actual breather. Nexus didn't really do that as well.
Not because Nexus was very serialized. It was very, very plot focused.
I mean, so is X8, but it knows how to, okay, you need a moment to just step back. And really focus on, another part of the plot that might not have as much to do with the main plot now, but it will later. But it's just like, you need to focus on just like, hey, it's not always a dire situation. We can focus on some other part of the show.
The problem is that the show doesn't have an overarching plot to breathe from.
And that's the big issue with this. Episode 41. The Friend from Space episode that focused on Munakata?
Yep.
This episode was bullshit. Well, one of the bullshit.
Whenever Marcus texts either me or Matt when we're watching a show, it's either because something really bad happened, something really scary happened, or something amazing happened.
This was parts 2 and 3. Because it just starts off like, okay, so these guys are friends of Munakata. You end up getting like a transmission from them where he's speaking to them inside the gut space and everything. And then the transmission cuts out. You start hearing like a whole bunch of screaming and everything. And I love the fact that they really ramp up that tension by just having just the audio happen. Was so good. And Munakata just like reacting to it, and everybody else in the gut space like, oh my god. I love it. Oh, it was so good. This episode, it was just like the aliens were basically taking over people. And like the spaceship has a crash landing. One of the aliens we'll put that in quotations, is running out of there. Munakata shoots the guy. And like his other friend that was on the ship, who's not fully transformed, like he's really slowly transforming into this monster, is just like running out of there. And he tells him that you just shot him, but he would have wanted you to do that. And I'm sitting here like that, and Munakata is just like, I can't right now. Like it's something that really like wears him down through a lot of this episode. And they just constantly end up doing it because just this tower ends up coming down. It's the aliens themselves like, hey, if you end up coming with us, we'll give you like peace and happiness and a lot. And that ends up showing up in an episode we're going to talk about.
Because that always happens.
It's just like these people are going like, it's basically just like young guys.
Yeah.
More or less, which is something I really wasn't expecting. But they end up like saying, it's like, hey, if we end up going over here, we'll end up, being happy and everything like that. And we don't have to worry about a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But his friend is just like, if you go over there, I'll shoot you. And I'm sitting here like,
well, okay, then.
I wasn't expecting that. Because just like, I expected just like, hey, don't go over there. And they still end up doing it anyway. But this guy was just like, no, if you go over there, I'll legitimately shoot you. Because I know what'll happen. I know that if you end up going over there, you end up turning into one of these things. And basically end up sharing like a gigantic connected brain with all
It's like joining the Borg in Star Trek.
Yeah. You're going to end up becoming part of the Hive. And we can't have that.
Yeah.
And I love it. He legitimately shoots at their... I don't expect that. This episode kept like just dashing my expectations throughout the entire thing. It's my favorite episode of Tiga. I don't know what the hell it is with Ultraman and 41 episodes, but between Mebius and this,
yeah,
I'm just like, this is great. This, just out of all the Ultraman that we like, yes, I don't like Tiga as much as I like Nexus or Mebius, but this might be my favorite episode just because it's just like favorite Ultraman episode.
Out of everything we've watched, this is your favorite singular episode.
Yeah, it's just
I
like,
can understand that.
I was just the entire time, because I watched this a day and a half ago as we're recording this, and I'm just like, I didn't know how to react to it because it kept going, and then like this guy. Like it's slowly starting to take him over. Like Munakata's friend is like slowly starting to take him over. He's starting to speak like the aliens that are coming in and everything. And he breaks out of it just by something that they remember from their childhood. But he's just like, hey, if I end up having to end up becoming one of these things, you have got to shoot me. I don't want to live like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, you're gonna slow clap, Tiga.
Yeah,
I was expecting that. That's amazing to me. I love this episode.
It's a good one.
It's so good. Now, let's move on to episode 43 and 44. This is the main problem I have with this show because they bring in something that if this show was a lot more serialized, this could have become much more of a thing early on. Mm-hmm. With the evil Tiga arc, guy ends up stealing Daigo's spark thing.
His Henshi device.
Yes, we'll call it that. And
that's basically what it is.
Yeah, he ends up becoming Dark Tiga, and there was like another statue beside the guy who was like, I guess like the pet of Evil Tiga, who took the form of a dog, and then Evil Tiga just ends up beating the shit out of this thing and kills it. And I'm sitting here like, no. You don't get to do that. You don't get to kill the dog.
No. We're gonna go John Wick on your ass.
I'm just like, God. Tiga does very good in single or just like, 2-part episodes. And this is one of those things that, yes, it's very good, but the whole Evil Tiga thing should have been something that was introduced a lot earlier to give much more of a recurring villain.
Yeah.
In this one. They have some monsters that will come back.
We have monsters that will come back, but the problem with the monsters is that that's just it. They're monsters. There's no greater force behind it.
There's no legit agenda. And but episode 44 was good. It's just it felt weaker because of the fact they introduced something that was a lot bigger, but they didn't do anything.
And it doesn't pan out. Yeah, sadly, no.
They end up bringing back the character who ends up becoming Dark Tiga. Him and his ego the size of last week. He's about on the level of Dan Masamune from Guy and the other Masamune from Guy. I mean, the other Dan. It's just like, dad and son from Guy, not from Guy, from X8. You know who I mean. Kronos and Genma. Oh, okay. The two of them with their egos the size of last year. I love it. Episode 44 was really, really good. 44 and 43. Let's talk about what episode was this? 45. Mm-hmm. It's weird that we can end up focusing a lot more on the end of this show. The latter half of this show was really good. 45 is the episode with the plant that was like basically sending everybody into a dream world or something like that. It was really strange because just like they really focus a lot more on human psyche and like the psychology of people in this episode, because they said that basically humanity will end up destroying itself, but they wanted to do it like the flower was there to make it less painful. And they said that like they end up trying to destroy all the flowers and everything, then like people would end up being inevitably angry at Guts themselves and like their worldwide center because of the fact that they want to go back to that happy place, and they can't do that without the flower. So I like the way they really end up working on that, because it's like Reina and the other captains are getting infected with it at the beginning, and they're just like, it's like I can feel the draw on it to me.
Yes.
And it's just like I want to go back there. It's just like, I understand we'll end up destroying ourselves eventually, yes, but we should all end up having the free will to, you know, try to fight back against that. And this episode,
stop it.
Yeah, it's just this episode does really good with just showing how people react to things, and it's just like I love it because it deals with the fact that they're having the Gus team is just like, I want to go back to this so badly, like it's hurting me to not go back to it. And people are mad at Tiga in this episode for destroying the actual. Like,
it's like if you got unplugged from the Matrix and you couldn't deal with the real world.
Yeah.
So it's like you just want to go back.
That's literally like that's the tie between episode 41 and this one. It's just it does really well with showcasing that people will do a lot for happiness, even to, you know, sort of just destroy
sacrifice your humanity for the sake of being happy.
Yeah, and I love it. This show does really good on exploring that psychology element of, you know, really the show
doesn't do it much, but when it does it, it nails it.
Yeah, it's really good. Episode 49. This is the 40th episode of Ultraman as a whole, so we do end up getting to see the original Ultraman. We also end up getting to see an actor who portrays Subaraya, Mr. Eiji Subaraya. They end up going back in time. It's a whole time loop thing because, as I said earlier, Tiga is not part of the main N7-8 universe.
Yes.
It's completely separate. So we end up...
Makes it a little confusing.
Yeah,
but...
it's really confusing. And Ultraman's, you know, there from... It's all weird, but I really like this episode. If only to bring back the, you know, see the original Ultraman again. That's always a good thing. The weirdest thing about this episode, though, is when they end up showing the clips of the original Ultraman at the end, and I got scared like hell because one of the things, like the original suit, like its face scares me. Yeah. Because it's not all smooth. It has like wrinkles and stuff in it. It looks so weird. It looks like a fever dream. And I'm just like, oh god, make it that good. Yeah, the last couple episodes, they try to bring in a main villain. Mebius did
the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
you remember.
Mebius had where they set up with Yapul earlier on, so they sort of had that, but it doesn't.
We did set it up, but the Lord of Darkness himself did not show up until like the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, and then they had like the 4 kings and everything.
Yeah,
and killed off the best character in that show. He needed his own goddamn show. But yeah, there's like the last couple episodes. Like, they ramp up the romance more with Reina and Daigo leading up to the movie, of course, and their marriage. Hori ends up getting married in one of these episodes as well.
For him?
Yeah, he's one of the scientists. But yeah, it's like episode 51 is when they really introduce, like, this guy who's bringing in all the darkness and everything. And then episode 52 is like Tiga ends up getting defeated, of course. At the end of episode 52, ends up turning into Glitter Tiga, which is apparently the name of the form that he ends up turning into. But unfortunately, the end of the episode 52 also ends up turning into goddamn Care Bears. So
yeah,
it's like Tiga's got captured, just like, hey, we're going to use like the powers of children to bring Tiga back and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, okay, why did you not... Like, I would have accepted it a lot more if they didn't just use kids and they used like everyone. But they just use kids, and I'm just like... Because
if you remember the 199 Heroes, the Gokaiger movie...
It's everyone.
It is everyone, and it feels a little more genuine. In this one, it's literally friggin' Care Bears.
It's just
it's all the kids.
It doesn't
gathered
work
around
as
and
well.
chanting, I care.
Like, it would have made so much more sense if they would have had, like, legitimately everyone. Like,
this may come as a massive shock to you, but children aren't the only people that Ultraman has been protecting.
Yeah. It would have just been a lot more
I know
genuine.
it's a kid's show, but sheesh.
Yeah. Well, we'll say that.
Yeah,
the kids in the 90s, man. But,
kids in the 90s in Japan. You
Yeah.
have to keep in mind, Fist of the North Star was marketed to 10-year-olds.
It's very true. But yeah, it just would have been a lot more genuine if they did it for everyone, not just multiracial kids. It didn't work, and that's sort of the problem with the ending of the show. It's still really good. I really like looking back on it, and especially like really doing this review, because I didn't think I was going to end up liking this show as much as then episode 31 happened. And I was like, well. But yeah, it's like the latter half of this episode, like 30 on, and episode 15 with the guy's sister who's a nurse with guts.
Yeah. I liked her character.
The biker.
Her character and her relationship with her brother was one of the bright spots.
Yeah. The biker guy who was on the plane who died in that episode.
That episode!
Yeah.
Why didn't we talk about that one?
Let's
Holy crap, I forgot!
Let's talk about 15 really quickly.
Okay, yes, please. So, I forget the character. Sorry. Forgive me if we forget all these characters' names. Shinjo.
Yes.
Tetsuo Shinjo. His sister works as a nurse for Guts.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a boyfriend who works overseas. He's a motorcycle racer.
Mm-hmm.
He's, the brother has never met him before.
Yeah.
And he's coming over to visit.
He's on a plane.
He's on a plane. He's coming over to visit for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So, towards the end of the episode, Tiga and the team are fighting a monster.
Yeah, because the plane ends up getting attacked
Yes.
early on in the episode by one of the monsters who was returning.
Yeah.
And the plane's just gone.
Yeah.
But the guy is like turning into energy or something right before the end.
It's kind of it's very Twilight Zone-y.
Yeah.
Like that one, it just reminded me of that one episode of the Twilight Zone where like somebody died in a plane crash, but they were still able to get to the town and like warn everyone to get away from where the plane was going to
I think
crash.
that happens in another part of Tika as well. I think it's with the same monster. Where it's like these astronauts end up getting attacked by the same monster. Like their families end up seeing them randomly.
I remember this one too.
Yeah, it's the same monster, so I think it's something that's rooted to the monster.
This monster's a dick.
Yeah.
This monster's a
This
dick.
is like, because the guy ends up coming in out of nowhere on his bike.
But then, like, on the bike, it's like, I'll distract the monster while you do whatever you need to do. And then at the end, the girlfriend comes out, and it's like...
Because the guy disappears.
And then he starts, like, fading away. It's like, I got to see you one last time. And it was just like, wow.
That's
the moment... Honestly, that's the moment when the show started to pick up for me.
Yeah.
Because... You talk about Kamen Rider Blade a lot and how, like, those first 10 episodes are just like... That's kind of how I feel about Tokucast from, like, episode, like, 3 to whenever Akira shows up.
Yeah.
It's just, you get this stretch of episodes where it's like, this isn't very good, and then something like this happens, where you get good acting, genuine emotion, a pretty decent story, and you're like, oh... Where the hell was this?
Now, I've read up on this. The guy who plays the motorcyclist is actually was a professional motorcycler. And he shows up in Dyna as well in one episode because his brother is one of the actors in that show.
Okay.
Unfortunately, an irony, the guy who was the motorcyclist got into an accident the year after Dyna and got paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
That's sad.
But yeah, it's just... Dyna, I really wish you could watch it. We can't.
Hope he's doing okay.
We can't watch.
We can't watch Dyna yet.
I like the fact that in Dyna it's just it takes place 7 years after Guts is over and Super Guts and everything, but we can't watch it, and that sucks because I really want to watch it. It's apparently more comedic. So I'm a little bit not okay with that. Depends on how they end up, really structuring the episodes.
If it's funny, that's fine.
Yeah,
as long as it's funny.
Yeah.
If you're going for a comedic tone and you're funny, fine.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like the series as a whole. Let's go ahead and do the actual characters.
All right.
Daigo.
Gujaku. Someone had to make it.
It's true. I liked him.
I didn't like him as much as the last couple of Ultras we've had.
Yeah.
But he was alright.
I mean, yeah, it's a little bit harder to follow up after Mebius and the fact that we like that cast so much.
Oh, yeah.
We love that cast.
Mebius' cast was so good.
We love that cast. We love that show.
This one...
Like, I like them.
But yeah, I mean, he's fine. He's not a bad character. He's just kind of bland.
Yeah.
He's kind of like stereotypical shonen good guy.
Yeah. Who tries to do a lot of this stuff by himself. And they really end up getting on him about that when they end up finding out that he is Tiga at the end of the show, especially Reina.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why did you try to do this all by yourself? And, we would have been there to help you along the way as we've been doing. Why didn't you just tell us that you were Ultraman throughout this entire thing? And I'm just like, yeah, I really agree with him. I don't see why you didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are.
And it kind of has the Mibius problem of no one ever says, by the way, where were you?
Reina.
But Rena. I like her.
Yeah, I like the fact that she was really competent.
She's very. That's one of the things that this cast exudes is competence.
Mm-hmm. Especially, this cast is just like, I got shit to do. We'll talk about one of the characters more in a moment. But yeah, Reina herself is really good. I really liked her character. She was the ace pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So she was always, out there legitimately getting stuff done. I remember there was this one episode earlier on where she had to, there was a monster that washed up on a beach.
Mm.
This monster was gross because it came basically as a corpse, but it wasn't dead. And when she pierced it, had pus and all you saw was water with chunks of. I had to pause and just look away because that is so gross. I hate water for anything that's not supposed to be in it, and it freaks me out so bad. But yeah, it was a really she was a really good character.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked her relationship with Daigo. We did speak about that.
Yep.
And just really good.
Good stuff. Captain Megami Iruma.
I liked her. She has one episode early on where she went to this investigation. Some guy went missing. Apparently he was got taken over by aliens or something.
Running theme in the show.
He went into her office. As she's following the beating throughout the gut space and everything. She calmly ends up walking over to the thing and tapping the alarm, and she figures out that the guy touched a picture in the room. He did touch a picture in the room. She's like, okay, his fingerprints are on this. We're going to get his stuff done. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that she's just like, okay, we got stuff to do.
She's smart. She's a woman of action.
Yeah, and she's the first female captain.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love her character quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. She's good.
Munakata, he's the one from episode 41. I liked him.
Episode 41 is really the most that he gets.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff.
Do much else.
I like him though. He's really, really good. I really liked his character. Hori.
I liked him.
Yeah, he was he's
the comedic relief, but
he's really smart.
But he is very smart. He invents the monster capsules, and he's always inventing things. He's always trying new things. He's always trying to change and become better at what he does.
He's the whole reason why they could even win in episode 31 because he made a backup generator.
Right.
For the entire, at least for part of the base.
Yeah.
I really liked his character. I don't remember anything about Shinjo. Yazumi.
Who?
He's the youngest one.
Exactly. But who was he?
He was the...
He's not in... No, I mean, I know who he was. He's not in the show that much.
He's always at the base.
He's always at the base. He's always on the computer. He's...
He's a gamer. He's a communications expert. You don't really end up getting a lot from him.
He doesn't do much. That's the problem.
Yeah. You don't get a lot from him. We'll say Hori gets married in this show. He has, it's good to have a side character who's not the main character gets a romance or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing that in X8, but his girlfriend is dispersed forever. So there's that.
Spoilers.
But yeah, this cast, I like them. I like the the camaraderie and everything they have with each other. They're not the best. I probably not gonna remember them as much as I do from guys. Yeah. That's the sort of the main thing with them. They're not as memorable.
Sorry, I spaced out there for a second.
They're not as memorable as...
Nowhere near as memorable as the characters from Guys, or Nexus for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really weird because the Nexus, they didn't, the other girl who didn't play Jabby and Garo.
Descriptive.
Yeah. But the other girl gets a whole 45-minute, basically a halfway point between two episodes is dedicated to her and her relationship with a boyfriend or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they didn't really do that with this one. Although everybody ends up getting moments in this show because it's really free.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah,
everybody gets at least one.
Yeah, it's really character heavy show, and that really shows just the way they end up focusing on a lot of the episodes on just the cast themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're just there's something about them that just doesn't make them as memorable.
They're not as memorable. They're not as well written.
Yeah, except Hori.
Hori is a pretty well written character, but I think it ties back to one of our biggest complaints. There is no overarching plot.
Yeah,
and because there is no overarching plot or at least series of overarching plots similar to what Mebius has,
Mm-hmm.
there's not as much of a reason to care about them.
Yeah.
Because we're just seeing, it is just kind of them going day to day to day, as opposed to dealing with an overarching struggle, which gives you more of a reason to care about them.
Yeah. Like, Tiga's a really good show.
I think it's okay.
Well, I'm not gonna say really good. It's a good show because it definitely has its moments.
It definitely does. It has some great episodes.
Yeah. 31, 35, 41, most of the end, so except Care Bears. But yeah, like if anything, if you're gonna introduce somebody to Tokusatsu, I would suggest episode 41. That episode was perfect. I just wasn't expecting it. 31 and 41 of this show, just like...
If you want to watch the show, I would recommend it, but it's
it.
definitely okay to skip around.
Yeah.
If you are bored with an episode, just move
Skip
on
it.
to the next.
Yeah, we're not going to blame you for doing that. Now we do have to amend our schedule.
We do.
A bit. So
As we mentioned, 2 of the shows we were going to review are not subbed.
Yeah, and now we have to add a couple other ones on there. Because we're going to end up having to do Cosmos sooner or later. Maybe we'll do that when we have like a movie review week or something like that. That way we can have like that whole extra week to watch Cosmos.
Not a bad idea.
It's
63 episodes, so I'm not looking forward to that.
But yeah, this I definitely do recommend. Just go ahead and watch Tiga. As you said, skip around, but definitely a great show.
Mm-hmm.
But join us next time as we go back to Super Sentai with Ninpu Sentai Hurricanger.
Shuuto sanjou.
Shuuto ninja time.
Woo!
I'm excited. I'm very excited to do that one. I love Hurricanger. It's a great show.
As do
And
I.
we're getting to that point where it's just like, for the next 3 Sentai shows that we're doing, I'm so excited. I really like Hurricanger. I haven't seen all of Abba Ranger. And then
Deca Ranger.
It sucks because that opening.
And we've talked about this. We might do it. Deca Ranger month is a possibility.
We're going to have to.
Because we're doing Deca Ranger month. You're hearing it here first because there's so much.
We have that show to do.
Show.
We have the team up movie, and we have the Teenage
After
After special, and then the 2 other movies that just came out.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to
Deca Ranger month.
Deca Ranger month is going to be a thing that will happen. We can promise you that. But next time we do it in Ninpu Sentai Hurricanger, and we also will be doing the Teenage After special on that as well. So yeah, but look forward to it.
It's
and
so good.
Weeks. Once again, this is the Tokucast, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.